let us see the code for reading the variables and writing the values for it. So let me explain with the same program. Just I'll be removing this initializations. So I'll read everything in runtime. So here first we need to give a message to the user what we need to type. For example, enter any character. So in order to read this character, we have another function called scanf. Here scanf is an input stream. So what we need to read in the place of scanf? We need to read an individual character %C, and what is the address of that particular variable? We need to give as address of ch. In the same scanf statement or scanf function, we can read multiple values, but the order of the variable names should be from left to right. So let us see for this example. When I am reading two variables of integer type, enter two values of val1 and val2. So whenever we are reading scanf, so what is the format specifier for integer is %d. So I am reading two variables of integer data type followed by what is their address, %val1 comma address of val2. So this is how we are reading two variables of integer data type. And if I want to read string, printf enter your name. So for reading the name, scanf %s. So here I can directly give name. We don't need to give address of, because in an array, if you know the base address, we can access all the elements of the array. Next, printf enter the float value, that is val, enter the value for val3. Scanf, what is the format specifier for float? %f. And what is the value where the address location we are going to store is val3. Put a semicolon. Similarly, printf enter the value for val4. This is for double. Scanf %lf, or I can also give %f comma address of val4. So this is how we are asking the user to enter a character. We are displaying a message. As soon as the message has been displayed, we are going to enter a single character. That character is stored in the ch memory location, and whenever we want to print this value, whatever it is stored in that memory location, printf the value or the character stored at location of ch is now %c, where your individual character, whatever you have read at runtime, that stores. And what is the identifier name we have used is ch. Similarly, if I want to display the integer variables of val1 equal to %d and val2 equal to %d, as I said, we need to follow the first format specifier, and it should give the first argument for that. So what is the argument? Val 1. And what is the argument for the next value? Val 2. So this is how we can display the values whatever we have read at runtime in the specific location of val 1 and val 2. Printf the float value stored in val 3 equal to %f /n comma. So what is the identifier name is val 3. I need to give it as a argument. Next, printf the double value stored in val 4 equal to %lf /n. Here the variable name is val 4. So this is how we can read the values whatever given for the identifier names at runtime, and then we can print the values. We can print all together in a single line, but let us just understand individually first, then depending upon the requirement we can execute them in a single line. Let us execute this code. You can see the input what it is asking for, enter any character. So as our C programming executes from top to bottom, the first printf statement it has encountered is enter any character. This is the message what it is displaying over here. Now we need to enter any character. Now I am entering a character as A. Enter. What is the next statement which is written here? The scanf is waiting for input. Scanf reads the input from the default input device called keyboard, and printf prints the content on the default output device called monitor. Now it is asking for the next statement is enter two values of val 1 and val 2. The same message is displayed for the end user. Now here we are displaying the two values. One is 11 and the other value is 22. So here it is waiting for two inputs, because in scanf I am reading two inputs. If I want to read 4 inputs altogether, then I need to give 4 format specifiers followed by their address locations. Here first %d is for address of val 1, the second %d is for address of val 2. So in address of val 1 I am reading 11, address of val 2 I am reading 22. So once we read it, enter, then it is asking for enter your name. So I am giving the name as Aravind. Enter. So what is the next one? It is asking for the value of val 3. Enter the value of val 3, which is of float type. Imagine if I am giving the number as 45, then in our output we can see 45.6 zeros. 45 point followed by 6 zeros, because float takes a real value with some precisions. The total number of precisions after point will be 6 digits. Now I am taking 45 and value 4 I am taking it as 56.778. Enter. Now you can see clearly what is the input which we gave at runtime. This is what we call it as a runtime screen. The input here we gave is A, and we got the input as A, which is stored in that location. The integer variable val1 is 11, val1 is 11, val2 is 22. The float value stored in val3 is 45.60. Even though I gave an integer value, it is giving me as a float value. because after point it takes 6 digits. If I am not specifying any value, it is by default taking 6 zeros. Now for double, 56.7778. So there are 4 digits after point. Now the remaining two digits have been added. The double value stored at this val4 location. So this is how your program you run for each and every time you give the different input values, you are going to see the different result. Earlier in the previous program, whatever the values whichever we initialize at compile time, that is what we gave here as val1 equal to ch equal to name equal to, whatever the values which we are substituting here, the same values are going to be represented as part of our output any number of times you run the code. But as part of this dynamic reading of variables, whatever the input you give, according to that input you are going to get it. So this is how we can read and write the different variables of different data types. Thank you.